Radio in motion. Program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, here we go.
Radio in motion.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining me on tonight's 90s Prime Time. We're doing some of the great songs from the 90s, and in between we might throw in some great TV show themes like we had from Baywatch and Seinfeld and Buffy, just to name a few. Some of the great surprises coming up. But first, we're going to have another installment of The Ugly Truth. The truth can be ugly, but the truth can set you free. And the truth is, the Super Bowl halftime show used to be, it always is. It is quite the tradition, and the world usually tunes in to see what spectacle it's going to be. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, the Super Bowl was on last night in the U.S., and I have to admit, I'm feeling like, in general, America is back. In general, just the feel of. Again, I feel like the past 4 years, every time you tuned into some event in America, it was just branded and covered in drama and sadness and someone trying to virtue signal or point at you saying you're terrible and wrong in some way. Everything was like a terrible PSA, public service announcement for everything you're doing wrong and all the things you have to do to fix your life and to fix the whole world. And that's just not what you want in the Super Bowl. Like I was saying, even Baywatch, as much as I like a good drama show, it's nice to also have escapism. But in general, I'm also saying, just like, because I'm broadcasting live in Melbourne, Australia. I am an expat. I'm from the U.S., but I've been here over 20 years. I'm a bit half and half, and I do recognize from the outside that America's had a sort of a dull grayness about it, and it seems to be colorful again. It seems to be red, white, and blue, and not in a cheesy way, in a good way. I'm sorry for anyone who... America, just like Australia, any place in Western civilization that tries its best to be the best of itself and tries to help other people in other countries, which America does, okay, as does Australia, they do seem to get knocked. And Australia is going through the same, I think, identity crisis. Everyone is on someone's case about doing something wrong, even if it was something from our ancestors did, or not even ancestors, hundreds of years ago. We must be blamed to the end of time. I won't go into too much of that now. That drives me nuts. It's like, if you go back far enough, if you go back 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years, everyone is to blame. The Romans should still be in trouble for enslaving half of Europe. Genghis Khan, all of his descendants would be in trouble. Egyptians, they should be slung up and whipped for all of their slavery. So I'm just saying, if you go back far enough, everyone has a dark history. So damn it, it's time to just get rid of all that and have a good time. And my point is, I feel like America's back and they're having a good time. And one of the reasons for that is, and again, love him or hate him, I'm just giving you the facts. Donald Trump is a charismatic individual, and he's actually doing exactly what he was elected to do. He's doing what the people want, the majority of the people. He's not pandering to a choice weirdo few. And even weirdos have a voice. That's the point. Everyone has a voice, and we decide on how to balance that voice and live in harmony. And the last 4 years wasn't about harmony. It was about scolding. But the fact is the president went to the Super Bowl, and you're like, well, doesn't that always happen? No. He is the first sitting president to have attended a Super Bowl. How awesome is that? Again, if you're like, oh, he's just pandering to the public. Yeah, like I said before, that's the job. If Biden had pandered a bit more, if he were, coherent in any of his speeches, if you could understand him, if he had a personality and he wasn't an evil tyrant himself, sucking every last tax dollar out of the people while he scolded them, maybe they would have liked him too. So yeah, it was awesome. The president went to the Super Bowl, and guess what? He got a rounding applause and cheers. I'm just saying, he did. Taylor Swift, not so much. Hey, she's an amazing star, and she works hard too, but I feel like the tide is shifting. Everyone's falling out of favor with celeb. They'll always be celeb, but I feel like, and I'll talk about that in a bit. I'm going to do a bit of a Hollywood roundup as well. Talk about some movies coming up. I feel like the movies and the Hollywood and the celebrity lifestyle and all of that we used to be enamored with, I think it's fading, and no one really gives a crap anymore, because we've seen behind the scenes, we've seen the strings, and it's not a pretty show. And I don't mean their personal lives and hardships as a human; they all have those. I mean their hubris and rhetoric, and how, again, Hollywood was part of that dark 4 years. From their palaces up high, they don't even go out, they don't even shop, they don't even know how much anything costs, but they would love to tell Americans about how they should live, and you should do this and vote for this person because that's the right thing. They live in America, but not really. They live in a bubble. So I feel like that bubble has burst and no one cares. And Taylor Swift might be part of that. And I'm saying not her concerts, but when she shows up to an event that's not her thing, especially when she has a Super Bowl football player boyfriend, I don't think that she is accepted the same with a round of applause. And look, the game was the game. It was what it was. The ads, that's another indication of how the tide is shifting a bit. The ads were like they used to be. That was the other big thing. Super Bowl halftime and Super Bowl ads. Not only the trailers for movies coming up, but there were always some of the best premiere ads for huge products. And again, the past 4 years, they were mostly just, pandering to all the people who only want sadness, and everything was just heavy. And now this just filled with fun and Carl's Jr.'s ads with ridiculous things and colors and dare I say, I'm going to say it, beautiful people, men and women. What's wrong with beautiful people? And I feel like, again, someone sees a beautiful woman, she's eating a cheeseburger, maybe she's in a bikini. That's the most disgusting thing ever. What a misogynist, horrible male you are. How disgusting is it you want to see a woman as feminine? That's the funny thing too. You know what? A woman can be intelligent and funny and smart and personality and everything, and also beautiful, just like a man. Doesn't that make sense? But God knows, you see a beautiful woman in an ad, it must be some sort of throwback to the 50s and men just trying to rule. No, it's just a beautiful woman, and life goes on. So when the ads start to reflect those simpler times again, and just simple things, you can tell there's a change there. And there were a lot of them that were like that. Now, the halftime show, this is another huge thing always in sort of pop culture and in sports. Even, not to be mean, no one tunes in to the big NBA halftime show. I'm sure it's wonderful, but I wouldn't know because I've never watched it. But the Super Bowl halftime show is usually quite the thing. And when you get that gig, that means you've done well. You've made it, my friend. And last night was Kendrick Lamar. And again, everyone has different tastes, but I feel like when you get booked for the Super Bowl, you shouldn't just make sure your audience is very narrow and understand that you're on a world stage, and try to make it a show for everyone, young and old, family, kids, old people, men, women, everybody. And I feel like last night, I don't know, I didn't get it. It was just a bit, and it seemed a bit low budget. And I'm sorry, I'm going to name a few other ones that weren't low budget. And when you think about them, if you did see it last night, you're going to think, yeah, it did kind of just look like didn't even rate a music video look. Look, there was great choreography and a lot going on, and the colors and the costumes, and his songs, whether they're not my personal taste or not, I feel like a lot of people were saying they couldn't even understand him, or like he chose the song playlists based on things that are a bit too personal, like songs that were targeted at people, and it was all about trying to diss them. And it should have just been about entertainment. So again, a lot of people were saying it just didn't quite hit the mark. And if you're going to do it, again, you've got to do it for a general audience, because that's what you're there for. You're on the world stage now. You're not just at your concert. You're at people who might not know you. That's the other thing. Why don't you try something to make sure you draw in new fans, all kinds of fans, and in perfect style, the ladies from The View, they're such race hustlers, and I know they're race hustlers because everything comes down to race. They have such a narrow view that there's nothing else in life. There is no conversation. Like I say, there is no back and forth, which is what life is about, which is what having, a dynamic conversation, to agree to disagree, but to come together. Maybe you both learn something. They don't learn a thing. They always bring it back to America's evil, racist, and Trump is evil, and it's the same. Even though the majority of America, black and white, Hispanic, all colors, all genders, voted for that man. But anyway, this isn't about Trump. This is about The View doing what they always do. So they said the reason people didn't like the halftime show. First of all, they said it's great to see a strong black entertainer. Where in God's name have they been? Are you kidding me? As if it's the first time? I'm going to roll off a few in a moment, but they were saying people didn't like it because they don't like that style of music, and they're racist, and it was a racist Super Bowl. Oh God, it drains me. That word drains me. If someone calls you a racist or a Nazi, be proud, because it doesn't even mean anything anymore. The word gets used so much, it doesn't mean anything. I don't even think they realize that. So yeah, okay. First artist of color. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to give you some of the most amazing shows. Janet Jackson. I remember the Janet Jackson one. That one was awesome. Rihanna, only in 2023. That one was good. And again, the songs were spot on and fantastic. Katy Perry in 2015. Whether you were a fan or not, you have to admit that was a show. And no lip syncing. That was singing, and it was real. And that's someone with talent who brought it. Lady Gaga, actually, in 2017, that one was awesome. That was quite a spectacle. And again, I think her voice is one of the best of all time, in current times or all time. Like I say, I'm not a mega fan, but I am a Lady Gaga fan, as her talent is amazing. I'm sorry, Michael Jackson, 1993. That was epic. It was. It was, whether it was on maybe a cusp of him on the way up, down, middle, doesn't matter. He brought all the hits and put on a spectacle that you would expect Michael Jackson to. By the way, a lot of these people are people of color, so I don't know what The View is on about. And dare I say, probably one of the best one of all time. Another amazing, talented man of color, Prince, 2007. That show was epic. So again, everyone tries to give you some narrative or spin it on some very narrow ideology, and these people are small-minded. And like I say, they're not going to last in a world where everyone has an open discourse and an honesty and the bravery now to be able to speak without thinking you're getting in trouble, which again, I feel like the last 4 years, a lot of people felt like they were going to get in trouble, and that's sad. So yeah, anyway, that's the Super Bowl halftime show, a bit shaky, and again, it's got quite a following to live up to with the artists that I just named there. So I'm going to sort of sway into something else. So talking about Trump again, he is doing exactly what he was elected for, and he is surrounding himself with intelligent people. Okay, Tulsi Gabbard and Elon Musk. Again, everyone immediately goes, "Oh, they're this or they're that." Again, I'm only here to tell you the facts. I tell you, you search for the truth yourself, and that's fine. I'm not here to tell you off. I always like a healthy debate, but I'm just here to give you the facts and let that sink in and hope that somehow logic washes over your mind. He's surrounding himself with passionate and smart people passionate about America and not the American government. Who cares about that? That's a thing. That's a machine. The people are the government. I'm sorry, it's cheesy as it is. It is about the people, we the people. That's the point of it. And that's what they're doing. He's surrounding himself by people who understand that. And Elon Musk is one of them. And yeah, he's set his attack dog on a very singular view, and his job is to clean up all the wastage and spending and bullcrap in government. And let me tell you, you already know, even if you're not into politics that much, you know that when it comes to any government spending, they have no idea what they're doing. And you think it's a mistake. You think it's, we're just not that good at doing the books. You and I have to make sure that we produce our tax returns or we go to jail. The government goes, we lost track. It's just too much. It's too much money. There's so many millions. We had a ledger back in 1965, but someone took it home and we don't know where it went. It's so much money. Who could keep track of it? Okay, you already know how much. But then when you find out how bad it really is, when you're surprised about how bad it really is, that's when you think, oh my God, they've only just looked at they've just looked at the top of the ant hill. They haven't seen the chasms down below, entrenched in all the horrible spending. And why do you're in Australia, or you're in the UK, you're in America, everywhere. Why do you care about just America? This isn't about America. This is about sending a message to all governments, and it starts in America, and it translates to Australia or the UK. It's about you work hard, and you give a percentage of your money to the government. You pay taxes. I get that. You want police. You want running water. You want all these things. But it's not just about that. It's when they barely give you that. They can barely fix the potholes. It's when they take more and you don't know where it's going, and they don't tell you, and they don't want you to know, and your taxes keep going up and your mortgage keeps going up. You don't know why. This is why. I'm going to tell you why. This is the only reason I bring this up, because some people are like, this is too heavy. I don't want to know this much about politics. Well, I'm telling you why it matters. It's directly linked to your pocketbook. It's directly linked to why you can't go out to the movies with your family. It's directly linked with you going, we would like to get that, but we can't. We just can't. We're going to live a lower life, even though we have worked hard for this level of life, and we're going to feel bad and guilty. That's who I'm talking to, and that's why, unfortunately, it does link with government. So currently, the Department of Justice, and that's what Elon Musk is part of, is going after, it's called USAID, and people say USAID, and they go, oh, he wants to take away the aid for other countries. Nope, doesn't stand for aid, doesn't even stand for that. It's United States Agency for International Development. And you're like, well, that still sounds good. That sounds good. No, it's not. It's a unbelievable slush fund of corruption, and it is totally time to destabilize it. It is ridiculous. What that agency does, it doesn't go to set up and develop other countries to help them. It develops the other countries because they have need and they want control, because they have their sights set on something else, whether it's oil there or mineral there or the government, or to position themselves in the right spot. So again, yeah, I love America, but America is different. There's America, the people. There's the amazing words of the Constitution. There's the things that they live by. And then there's the government, which is just a swamp at the moment. And this is the swamp. So this is about developing other countries for the means for these people. And when I say these people, I do mean rich companies, military, senators. They call them NGOs, non-government operations. It just means big companies looking for that dollar. The donut shop sells donuts to make their money. An NGO, that kind of company, is looking for ways to exploit regions and go, this area, even though they're doing fine, you know what they need? They need a mall, and then they need bathrooms, and then they need this. And you're like, well, doesn't that bring prosperity and happiness to that place? No, because they were probably already happy. You know what I'm saying? This international development is done for nefarious means, just to make more money and to find a way to insert themselves into the government. Very often, if they don't like the current government, they'll find a way to get it out, then they'll put in their own government. So that's what USAID does. So another interesting thing, it's wasting huge amounts of money is the point. Millions, and all of this is taxpayer-funded money, and they don't even know. People don't even know where it goes. It's not like they get a line item of where their taxpayer dollars go. So there's something called Politico. It is supposed to be, say there's the Washington Post, the New York Times, or Herald Sun. Whatever newspaper is owned by, you can't help that whoever it's owned by might have certain political views. So even though they're supposed to remain, like all mainstream media, by the way, they're not. They're the worst at this. They're supposed to remain unbiased, pure journalism. Well, that's crap. That's out the window. But bad enough if it's a particular view owned by the owner of a newspaper or a TV station, whatever. So Politico is meant to be this fact-checking, journalism. It's supposed to remain neutral and unbiased. That sounds wonderful. It is not. Do you know why it's not? Because USAID was funding them. Politico meant to be unbiased, fact-checking both sides, polarizing the left and the right and whatever, and somehow in the middle having the truth, which is what we all want. We just want the truth. Well, that doesn't work when that current government and the White House and all the people who want to say a certain thing pay you $8.2 million in subsidies to cover all your expenses. And I'm sorry, I know, for those who are too they can't get by it. They've all got Trump derangement syndrome, and that's fine. I just hope that your mind can expand. Don't you realize it's so weird when you just keep hearing, like an echo chamber, the same view, and it's echoed by the same newspapers, but then maybe something else, you read something else, you see something on YouTube or X, and all that's just a conspiracy theory, that's wild. Even though millions of people also have found that facts, maybe they brought up a video or a clip and it's factual, it's a thing, or you saw it with your own eyes. Oh, no. But Politico or New York Times said that's not true, so it's not true. They're true journalists. They're real journalists. No, they're paid shills. And this is what they've been finding. And I think that's devastating. The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, said that the money given to Politico, again, supposed to be unbiased, was spent essentially on subsidizing subscriptions because no one wants a subscription to it. It's expensive, by the way. This is more expensive than like the New York Times. And the taxpayers, and nobody wanted to subscribe. And so, it's obviously a huge waste of money. Having this, funneling into this. Reading here, the policy focus, according to the platform, subscriptions can cost around $10,000 a year. $10,000 a year for one subscription. Do you understand? That's why it's millions. Per online reports, meaning that the government would have had to shell out more than 800 accounts. So they're paying for accounts because no one wants it. And so Politico goes, oh, wow, we're popular. We'll just keep writing whatever you want. It's as simple as that. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. And you're like, oh, that can't be. Maybe they took the money, but then they still reported unbiasedly. Nope, and no. That's not how that worked. They took the money and they did what they were told. That's not how that's supposed to work. So I'm happy they've gone after them. I'm happy they're finding millions of dollars. And that all, again, why do you care? Because it goes back in your pocket. You can go out, take the kids to the movies. You can get an iced coffee and not feel like your whole weekend is ruined. You can pay for your car. You can pay for your house. You can have the life you've worked for and you've earned. That's the point of it. So, again, also the U.S. government gave, I mentioned the New York Times, gave the New York Times tens of millions of dollars just over the past 5 years. And, that is unbelievable. The United States government alone awarded $4.1 million to the New York Times. The bulk of the funds came from the U.S. Department of Health. Do you understand what that means? And Human Services, and that was $26.9 million that they gave. Again, you can't remain impartial if the Health and Human Services. Again, they all have their own agenda too. The name sounds like it's for people, but it's not. When it's money is at stake. I'm sorry, money is the root of all evil. I don't say it. That explains everything here. So when someone tries to undo that, people get upset, and you can see that. Go ahead, watch the YouTube clips, watch a lot of the Democrats and people on the left. They are furious. They can't believe that they're taking their cash cow because they don't have a real job. They don't have a job like you do, okay? They've lived their life on bullshit and sliding and back-end deals, and this is what they get. Like I say, even if the Health and Human Services pays for you to write a certain piece leaning one way or the other, whether it's Pfizer or COVID or Wuhan. And again, I can't believe I'm still arguing with people at this when they're known facts. When they're known facts where COVID came from, didn't come from the wet market, coming from the Wuhan lab, funded by Fauci, funded by America, more than likely even military, funded for gain-of-function research, which is not required to study those viruses. Gain-of-function research, the entire point, to see if they can make it and then see if they can come up with a way to fight it. Why would you do that? Oh, to save people. No, it doesn't exist. They're making it, they're engineering it, so they can find a way to fight it if they have the cure, and no one else does. And I'm sorry, you think I'm a conspiracy theorist? I can't help you if you don't believe this. Chemical warfare is a real thing, and using virology and viruses, weaponizing it, that's a real thing. And I'm sorry, people know exactly that's how it came about, and it spread to the world, and our lives have been forever changed by it. And I'm still waiting for people to be held to account to that. I'm sorry, I've talked about this before. I won't get too deep into that, but that is so upsetting. It's things like that that gets funded by your own taxpayer dollars, and then they pay the New York Times and Politico to lie about it. That doesn't infuriate you? You know what I'm saying? Oh, the virus, it came out of the wet market. It just came out of a bat. Came out of a fish's ass. I don't know. Okay, who knows? Now they know exactly. They can see. Don't listen to someone who doesn't know. Don't even listen to me. Actual virologists, when they can see that the virus was engineered. And again, to be weaponized. So like I say, when you have a weaponized virus and you have the cure and no one else does, that's called a weapon. Anyway, that's the kind of thing that I hope they're slowly shining a light on. And that's a good thing. And the other one is, I'm going to be honest, RFK Jr. I just want to talk about him really quick. He's going to go after Big Pharma and the FDA. And I think that's a serious thing. I tell people all the time, there is a difference between food in America specifically. And I know, I get it. There's a lot of people to feed. Maybe, the real ingredient is too expensive and they've got to make their margins. But that's not an excuse to poison people with food, all these food colorings and these unnatural artificial ingredients. And then they go to the doctor and the doctor goes, well, I don't know what's wrong with you. You were fine before. It's because you're eating crap. You're eating all that cereal. You're eating everything off the shelf, all those ready-made meals. And, you're wondering why chronic disease is out of control. Most of it is you are what you eat, folks. It's pretty simple. You are what you eat. And America is having a serious crisis with that right now. And I do hope he goes after that to them, the FDA, and holds them accountable. Because, by the way, you can look this up yourself. The FDA and Pfizer, those people bounce back and forth. Don't you think that's interesting? The people who used to work at one end up at Pfizer, and it's all about big money, And I don't want to be mean. I'm going to be honest with this. A healthy person, in the eyes of Big Pharma, is worth nothing. Sorry, a sick person is worth everything, and that's a fact. So I hope he goes after them. Oh, and another great thing: paper straws are gone. Damn it, bring it back. It's pointless. It's saving nobody. All right. Ruining my iced coffee is doing nothing to save the planet in any way, shape, or form. I mean, we live in, it's 2025. We live in amazing modern times. There's plastics that biodegrade. There's other things based on natural type of biodegradable things that don't necessarily have to be paper. That's one option, but I think there's other options, and I say bring back the paper straws. I don't care where you put them. I think it's one of those ridiculous things that we were scolded for 4 years. Oh, you got a plastic straw. You're the devil. You're a racist. Yeah, well, they're gone now. Get that plastic straw, have a good drink, and you can drink it for 20 minutes. A good 20 minutes. Because God knows a paper straw, 5 minutes, you're trying to pour it down your gullet. A quick one, just a wrap up on the end. I want to talk about some of the Hollywood movies coming out. This is where I feel like it's starting to fade a bit. I feel like, I don't know. So there's the Tom Cruise movie, the Mission Impossible, his part 2 of the Mission Impossible movie. I feel like that might be one of the last sort of big, and Tom Cruise as well, the last actual Hollywood star that people still really get behind, and he brings it to the screen, and he excites people, and he gets them excited about motion pictures and actual movies. Streaming is to blame in a bit. Streaming is not the same as going out to the movies with other people and strangers and having the human experience all at once, laughing or crying at the same parts with strangers. It's all part of the experience. I feel like that's dying. And again, it doesn't help when Hollywood only pandered to a very, particular specific audience. And you want to say woke? Yeah, it was woke. Just pandering to them, even when, especially with Disney, their movies have obviously year after year lost money. Their trajectory is down, going all the way down. And I always thought movie studios, as much as they like to make movies, they like to make money first. But do you see, that's part, again, a lot of this funding and USAID and other things. They already you can look this up too, they've already had things paid for. They've already been given a chunk of money, subsidizing it. If your movie tanks, it's all right, but keep doing it. That's the right message. Whatever ridiculous message, again, the message should be, a good story, good characters, good acting, a good movie. That's the core of movie art, the art of it, the creating a movie. It shouldn't be about picking the message and making sure it gets pushed down someone's throat. But that's what they've been doing. Snow White, for example. I don't even know anything about that. That is going to tank. Renee Zellweger has not helped by every time she opens her mouth in the press, she pretty much bags half the audience because they're not the right person to watch the movie. This is the live-action remake of, obviously, Disney's animated classic that pretty much built the company. They've gone through so many problems and reshoots and confusions. The first debacle was, dwarves. Again, this is a mythical thing, like a story, like any book written hundreds of years ago, stories told of giants and tiny people and fairies and magic and worlds that are imagination of the human mind. But now we get in trouble. You get in trouble because we have to take that imaginary world, which annoys the hell out of me, whether it's Star Trek or Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, fantasy. This is what our imagination is, what builds our world. But you have to make sure you ground it in modern times right now and link it to reality. That just doesn't work like that. So you can't have dwarves because that's offensive. Here's the funniest thing too. Peter Dinklage, he's a very famous little person in Game of Thrones and plenty of movies. He was in Elf. He's great. I think he's fantastic. He's hilarious and a great actor. But he sort of got on his high horse, or his low horse, sorry. And he said how it's wrong to just cast someone because the part calls for a dwarf or a short person. This is wrong. We're being typecast. Here's the thing. I get that. You could say that. I'm 6'5". I'd probably get typecast. He actually got backlash from other people, other little people who've been working in Hollywood their whole lives, and they make their livelihood on some of these parts. By the way, there are plenty of parts. He's had plenty of parts where it just called for a specific actor, and he happened to get it because he was the best actor. It didn't matter whether he was short or tall, white or black, man or woman. And again, yes, everything should be about that. But when it comes to a story about a mystical past where there's giants and there's little people called dwarfs, I don't know what to tell you. Little people are probably the perfect person to play that. So he got backlash from little people in Hollywood who said, who are you to speak for all of us? We're fine with it. I just bought my Hollywood mansion in the hills because I got one of the best parts in one of those movies. And yeah, maybe it was partly because I got the part from my acting skills, but also because the description said person is 4'3". I'm just saying it is what it is. If I was a half good actor, but it said must be 6'5", and I got the part because of that, I'm happy. It doesn't bother me. Oh, that's because you're tall. Again, it's all about what's in your mind and you're projecting your own crap on other people. So that was the first thing. So it couldn't have actual little people play the dwarfs. So they were going to have the new dwarfs, which was going to be a crazy mix of wacky, mystical people of tall and short. Well, that went over like a lead balloon. It was ridiculous. The first shot that came out, everyone laughed their ass off and said, that's ridiculous. Those aren't the 7 dwarfs. Those are the 7 weirdos who are looking to break into your home and squat. Squatters' rights. Hey, I live here now. I'm a dwarf. What's up? Stupid. So then they went CGI. And I tell you, I think CGI is also going a bit far these days. I swear to God, CGI in the 90s looked better. These CGI dwarves look terrifying. They're terrifying. They've got overly predominant features in the nose and the ears. And they're not endearing. They're scary. So that movie's going to tank. Another Jurassic Park is coming out. I love Jurassic Park. I don't give a crap. I just don't care. I'm tired of seeing the same movie over and over again with no new ideas. What's the plot? We've got to go get something on the island. We've got to go retrieve something or save someone. Oh, no, not the island. But there's another island, another secret island. We have to go. Who can do it? I don't know. We'll need a pilot and someone who's good with guns, and they'll take us. And we'll be so prepared nothing will go wrong. All right, you're right. What could go wrong? The dinosaurs went wrong. They escaped and started killing. That's what happens in Jurassic Park. People are gonna die. I am so bored with remakes. So that one, I don't even know. Superman. Look, I think people are getting tired in general of superhero movies. Marvel's run its course. They need a whole rebrand. Superman has gone through so much confusion. The trailer came out. He was like googly-eyed. That didn't help. Again, I don't know if it was CGI or what was going wrong, but people are all over that. James Gunn, he's awesome. Guardians of the Galaxy, but still, I don't know if googly-eyed Superman and Crypto, the super dog, is going to save Superman. Like I say, I end up on Mission Impossible, and I'm only watching that because I've been faithful to that series. And you know what? You can't deny, even if you don't like Tom Cruise, in each and every movie, he brought it. Every single time, he stepped it up. And this is a part 2. I've already seen part 1. So yeah, I'm going to say that's going to be my last Hollywood blockbuster in, I don't know, hopefully not forever, maybe forever. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Not a lot coming up in Hollywood that's thrilling. You know, a balance for all moviegoers would be good. And for movie studios to get back to their roots, which was caring about money. All right, thanks for joining me on The Ugly Truth. We'll be back in a minute with some more great 90s primetime tunes and TV themes on Radio Emotion's 90s Primetime. First, a word from our amazing sponsors.